All right, let's just jump right in. Think about this for a second. When the absolute wealthiest, most powerful people on the planet, the ones literally building our future, start secretly prepping for the end of the world, you've got to wonder, right? What in the world do they know that the rest of us don't?
So that quote you just saw, that's from Reid Hoffman. Yeah, the guy who co-founded LinkedIn. And what he's saying is, well, it's pretty wild. He claims that over half of Silicon Valley's billionaires have some kind of apocalypse insurance. This isn't just some quirky little hobby for them. Nope. It's like a secret language, a coded conversation happening among the super elite. And today, we're going to crack that code.
So, what does this insurance even look like? What are we talking about here? Well, that brings us right into our first section, the billionaire bunker boom.
Okay, so when you hear the word bunker, you're probably picturing some dusty, cramped concrete room in the backyard, right? Yeah, forget that. Erase it from your mind. We are talking about massive, sprawling, totally self-sufficient, underground mansions. Seriously, these things are designed not just to help you survive a disaster, but to let you ride it out in total and complete luxury. And the key thing to get here is just how comprehensive these places are. I mean, they're fortified with missile-proof walls, sure, but inside, you've got swimming pools, gyms, even movie theaters and game rooms. They've got hydroponic gardens to grow all their own food, which creates this completely closed-loop system. It means, at least in theory, they could stay underground pretty much forever.
And the tech keeping them alive? It's straight-up military grade. They use something called CBRN filtration. That stands for chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear. What that means is, it doesn't matter what's happening up on the surface. Could be a pandemic, could be nuclear fallout. The air inside that bunker is going to stay perfectly clean and totally breathable.
And this is what's so wild. You see these two images. On one side, you've got the raw industrial hardware, all the filters and valves and machinery. But then on the other side, you see how it's all just hidden away. This incredibly complex life support system can be integrated so seamlessly that a room, say a kid's bedroom, looks completely normal. You'd have no idea was part of this high-tech fortress.
But look, it's not always about building a fortress under your mansion in Beverly Hills. For a lot of these folks, the real plan is to get out of town. Like, way out of town. Which brings us to our next chapter, Escape to Utopia.
So, where are they all going? What's the destination of choice? New Zealand. It's got everything they want. It's remote, it's politically stable, it's got clean water, tons of open space. It's even earned this nickname, the lifeboat for billionaires. It's a powerful image, right? If the rest of the world is the Titanic, New Zealand is where all the first-class passengers are planning to go.
And the guy who's basically the poster child for this whole movement, tech billionaire Peter Thiel. He was super public about how much he loved the country when he applied for citizenship. And this is where things get a little controversial. His application was approved even though he'd only spent a grand total of 12 days in the country. Get this, he didn't even have to show up in person. They held a ceremony for him at a consulate in Santa Monica.
And this really highlights the two different realities of New Zealand, doesn't it? For most of us, for the rest of the world, it's this beautiful tourist spot, the home of Middle-earth from Lord of the Rings. But for this very specific group of tech elites, it's something else entirely. It's a strategic asset. It's a safe place to run to when things go bad. And maybe, just maybe, it's a blank canvas where they can start building a whole new kind of society.
And that idea right there, building a new society, that is absolutely key. Because this is about so much more than just surviving. It's about a whole ideology. Which brings us to the playbook that, it seems, they're all reading from. So let me introduce you to The Sovereign Individual. It was this kind of obscure libertarian book from back in 1997. Peter Thiel, the guy we just talked about, has called it the single most influential book he's ever read. And it's basically a manifesto. It predicts the total collapse of democracy and the rise of this new class of super wealthy people who aren't tied to any country or any set of laws.
The book basically lays out this three-step prophecy. Step 1, collapse. The internet and crypto make it impossible for governments to collect taxes, so the whole welfare state just crumbles. Step 2, liberation. People are finally freed from what the authors call the protection racket of democracy. And then, Step 3, ascension. A new cognitive elite rises up, and they use their insane wealth to basically become their own countries, their own nation-states.
And if you really want to grasp just how extreme this vision is, the book itself puts it like this. It says the new elite will operate like the gods of myth. They'll live in the same world as the rest of us,
but in a totally separate political reality. It's this vision of a world literally split into two different kinds of humans.
Now look, this whole mindset isn't just trapped in the minds of a few billionaires. It's actually part of a much bigger trend, what you might call a growing culture of collapse.
I mean, prepping, getting ready for a disaster, it's not new. It goes way back to the 1950s with those Cold War fallout shelters. Then it got another boost in the 2000s, thanks to all those Hollywood disaster movies and, of course, 9/11. But now, in the 2020s, after the pandemic and all the instability in the world, it has gone completely mainstream. You can literally walk into Costco and buy a bucket of survival food that'll last for 30 years.
But here's the thing, and this is the crucial point. The billionaire version of prepping is something else entirely. It's not just about stocking up on canned goods in your basement. It's about having a concrete plan to just opt out of society altogether. And more than that, it's about being in the position to decide who gets to write the rules for whatever world comes next.
And of course, this is where the pushback comes in. There are people like legal scholar Kylie Quince who point out that calling New Zealand a utopia is a gigantic red flag, especially for Maori and other indigenous people. Why? Because that is the exact same language that colonizers used to basically ignore and erase the people who are already living there. So from that perspective, this billionaire escape plan starts to look a lot less like visionary thinking and a lot more like a new, high-tech form of colonialism.
So this all kind of comes together and brings us to the big, final question we have to ask. What kind of future are they actually building here? It feels like we're standing at a crossroads with two really, really different paths ahead. On one path, you have a collective future, one that's all about shared responsibility, solving our problems together. And on the other path, you've got the sovereign future, where a tiny, wealthy elite can just buy their way out of society's problems and build a whole new world just for themselves.
And that really brings us to the ultimate irony in all of this, doesn't it? The very same visionaries who are creating these world-changing technologies, like AI, are also the people who seem to be the most afraid of them. They're so afraid that they are actively planning their own personal exit strategies. So, I'll just leave you with this one final thought to chew on. When the architects of our future are also planning their escape from it, what does that tell us about the world they're building for the rest of us? It's a huge question, right? It touches on technology, on power, and really on what it even means to be a part of society in the 21st century.